Well, welcome to the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. As always, it's with myself, Mick the Game Caller Gledhill. We've got Joe Me the Money Harrison, the King, Show Me the Money, Mr. Craig Harrison, and we've got Jimmy Mack there over on the far end, sporting a very dapper black baseball cap.
I've decided that one, Jim.
You want Nike Air Jordan? That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I've decided to wear my grey one, which I got a freebie. So thank you to whoever Galty is.
Well, before we go on, Mick, I'm sat last night. I'm just about to go bed. Breaking news. It's one of the funniest 2-minute segments I've ever seen. I couldn't wait to share it with everybody. You've just told us that everybody in the country is trying to get on here. We've got the live plug on the show, Mick, because you're showing a bit of loyalty now. You're a star.
I'm not a star.
Thanks for making time for us.
I'm not a star.
Can we run it, Mick? Now, are you running it, Sam?
Yeah.
Can we actually run it? And
well, let's set the scene. So, it's Hodsall Stadium. It's yesterday. It's Bradford Bulls against Workington Town. We're about 10 minutes into the game, and then I'm on local radio, and then this happens. So we've just seen an error apiece here at Hodsall Stadium.
Can you shut this off? Air conditioning unit off. It's making a fucking racket.
Can you get out of it, please? I don't have to get
No! You turn it off.
Bradford are going to be awarded the scrum. There's something kicking off here. Not sure what's going on. Do apologise.
I'm not going over there.
Do apologise for this interruption. It's live radio.
You sort it.
Stop pointing your finger at me, or you'll be out of
I do apologise for this.
I don't work for them. I work for me. Off you go.
No, you get it sorted.
Get out.
You touch me.
I'm not going to touch you. I'm going to have security take you out.
You touched me. You've assaulted me.
Oh, get out of here.
Bradford in possession. 10 shy of the halfway line.
You get that noise sorted.
There's an intruder in the commentary box.
Hey.
There's an intruder in the commentary box.
Stop assaulting me. He's assaulting me. He's physically assaulting me. He's physically assaulting me there.
So you've just heard the clip. I've never experienced anything like that before in 13 years of rugby league broadcasting, be it hospital radio, commercial radio, streaming with the RFL, Yorkshire Radio, Pulse Radio.
All right, it's not about your CV.
I've never experienced anything whatsoever. You've got to understand in the context of where my headspace was yesterday. I'm there to do a job because there's we get a few thousand listening on a Sunday afternoon. Obviously, Bradford versus Workington, it's not a marquee fixture in any way, shape or form, but there's people who listen religiously in Germany, Spain, France every week, and I'm there to do a professional job, for those Bradford supporters or rugby league supporters who are not able to get to Hodsall every week. And after 10 minutes to hear the door clatter against the side of the gantry commentary wall, and you've got an irate supporter there who I can only describe, because this is the thing about the audio, it's open to the imagination of what this person looks like. Let me tell you, it was like a character off of Peter Kay's Phoenix Nights. I've never experienced anything like it. I still don't understand how he thought myself and Russ, the cameraman, were responsible for this faulty air conditioning unit. I can't describe it any other than that. I was just flabbergasted because the doors kicked in. I'm still trying to call. I think there's been an error by Workington. Bradford had a scrum, and I'm trying to think, well,
Are you 6-0 down at this point?
Bradford are trailing 6-0 at this point, yeah.
So tension was high in the
stadium.
stadium.
I'm kind of like trying to think, well, I need to be seeing where the ball is and what's going on the field, but it's impossible when you've got this irate fan who then starts throwing profanity after profanity, and he's effing and jeffing at me, at the cameraman, basically saying, you sort this air conditioning unit out, it's nothing to do. And as I'm sure you can listen in the clip, Russ is the person who's arguing back with the supporter, and he's like, it's nothing to do with me. I don't work for them. I work for me. At the end of the day, we're both freelance at the end of the day. I work for the radio station. He works for himself, who gets paid to film the games. And, it is just unbelievable, And I think what probably makes it more comical listening now obviously, when it's taking place, I'm just like, get this idiot out. You know, he's spoiling the commentary. But obviously, you can have a laugh and joke at it now. But if you do listen to it, I listened to it 10 times myself last night. And I'm just like crying with laughter because it's the interaction with the fan and the cameraman, Russ. And they're like saying he works for him, he doesn't work for him. And he's like, get him out. And then he's obviously tried to get him out. And then the supporters saying, you've assaulted me, you've touched me, it's assault. And then obviously Russ has called for security. Security have come and they've dragged him out. And then he's saying he's been assaulted again. Honestly, it's the most rugby league thing ever. If you wanted to showcase rugby league, that is the clip.
What would you say, Mick? Obviously, and again, I know we're going to go through your agent now to speak to you. We've heard massive things today. You're a bit like Jax O'Neill now. You're in that.
I don't think so.
But I've got a question for you, Mick. You've obviously been asked to go on a couple of big shows today, radio, national radios.
Yeah, I'm going on Talk Sport later on.
Among your incidents, I've known you on the show for quite a few years now. The Toulouse escapade when you fell off the ladder after 12-siders. You're obviously rugby league rant, Mick. I know we don't like talking about it. I'm quite protective of you, you know, when you'd had 10 pints of Bradford hanging onto the gates and saying, you know, where does it go in your list of... Because you could be a book in the waiting now, you know, Gledall's Tales could be on the way, you know, you've missed trains, you fell asleep on this, your record historically is massive. Where does this go among your... greatest...
I don't know, Craig. Like I say, when I was clipping that, I was in two minds whether or not to put it out there because I'll be brutally honest. I was like out and about last night and I was like, do I clip it? Because so many people who'd listen to it live, after that game, normally I get the same 14 people. Oh, Bradford have been rubbish, this has been rubbish, what's gone on here? But I had about 50 messages on WhatsApp from people who've listened, and then there was the Facebook messages. People just like, oh my God, that was Radio Gold, you know, can we listen to it again? So that kind of like put it out there. But look, end of the day, if I'm known now as the person who's had to deal with an irate fan who's kicked a door in, complaining about a faulty air conditioning unit, I would rather it be that, Craig.
It's just happened here. There's someone coming. What's happening?
This to describe the scenes here, this is the difference between me and you, Craig. I go to Argos and get a £9 strimmer. You've got Billy, the gardener over there, on 75 quid a coat.
Well, it's...
Don't deny it, you've got a private gardener.
I have had for 15 years, Mick, haven't I?
Well, there you go, that's the difference between me and you. I go to Argos and every summer can have a £9.99 strimmer and you've got Billy Gardner over there.
Oh, he's not his handy, he's a great bloke.
Oh no, listen, no. But listen, if it takes away the infamous, I'm not proud of it by the way, because it wasn't a true reflection of my character. If it takes away the Ralph Rim and Karamoraus incident, and to this day, I didn't have a drop of alcohol until after half time in that Toulouse game because Cedric, he was the one who come with that silver bucket with the pint bottles of Heineken because I'd run out of water. If it takes away the Toulouse incident as well. But yes, like I say, you know, it's just one of those things. But, you know, I'll say this again. You know, I've done this for 13 years. Some of it voluntary, some of it paid. You know, I have never experienced anything like yesterday. I've been in grounds where I'm sat with the fans, like at Wakefield, at Hemel. You know, I've been North Wales Crusaders when they played at the athletics ground in Wrexham. You're in the stand amongst the fans, and yeah, people don't always agree with what you say, but I've never actually had an incident like that. And I know Russ, the cameraman, has emailed the club and he's told Nigel Wood that gantry now needs to be secure because we can't have another incident like that because, you know, regardless of the crowd and the noise from a faulty air conditioning unit, you know, that supporter clearly thought me and Russ were in control of this conditioning unit, hence the need for him to kick the door down and start ranting and raving in the background. But listen, I'm sure we can laugh about it.
Listen, it'll get loads of, I think Jimmy said this morning, 140,000 views. Hopefully people go, if you want to hear it, everybody, here's a plug for us, but go on our YouTube show in the Rugby League TV.
Rugby League TV, yeah.
You'll hear it, and if you want to know what we're on about, I'm sure Sam's going to clip it up, but let's get on with the show, Mick, let's go.
Yeah, so that's the fun and sun at Odsal yesterday. Joe, what's tickled you? Oh, you ready?
Yeah,
You're ready to go. You're ready to go. Right. Well, I don't know where to start, to be honest, because quite a lot has happened this week in the wonderful world of rugby league. I tell you something. We'll start with the. We'll start with League One and we'll work our way up. We'll start.
No. Can we start Super League and work our way down?
Why can't we start from?
We're capturing the imagination of the people, and then we can.
Okay, fair enough then. Okay, well let's start with the Thursday game, Ulkinston Rovers against Toulouse. I watched this and wow. I thought Toulouse. If you watch I think it was the Rowan Mill. No, it wasn't the Rowan Mills try. It was the Holton try after the break from Sean Kenny-Dow. I was watching it back, and I forget the Toulouse player. But if you watch it, there's a Toulouse player who just slips, and that ball. If he hadn't slipped, he'd have got that ball. And that's fine margins. That's fine margins. That could ultimately, see Toulouse down. I know the season wouldn't rest on such a slip, but that just gives you how close and how fine a detail the fine margins were. But what I did like about the Ulkinston Rovers performance, and again, I know we might talk a bit about Bradford later on, is 18 of those 22 points come from Bradford players. Elliot Minchella, Ethan Ryan, Rowan Milnes, and again, that does cut deep.
You've nailed it.
It does cut deep. You look at the mess Bradford are in now.
You said you're not going to talk about Bradford.
No, but I'm talking about Ulkinston Rovers, but I want to try and paint a picture of what Bradford could have had. Ulkinston Rovers fans, they're absolutely singing the praises of Elliot Minchella. Ethan Ryan, Rowan Milnes. Even now, I get messages from Ulkinston Rovers supporters who are like, wow, Mick, when they signed, I don't think Ulkinston Rovers supporters actually realised what they were getting. With your Matty Staughtons, your Ethan Ryans, your Elliot Minchellas, your Rowan Milnes. I don't think they realised what they were getting. They're seeing it now. They're seeing a little bit of it last year. They're now seeing it in full bloom this year. And like I say, credit to Ulkinston Rovers, credit to Danny Maguire. They're not going to be in those relegation spots. They're now challenging with Salford, with Leeds, with Hull FC and Castleford for a top 6 spot. But listen, it was a great, entertaining game. I do feel ever so slightly for Toulouse. They just ran out of steam. I don't know if it was the fitness, but ultimately, it was a very good sporting narrative that everybody loves a last minute, win, a come from behind win. I certainly thought Toulouse I certainly thought Ulkinston Rovers were in a lot of trouble with about 15 minutes to go. But credit where credit's due, Danny Maguire's got Ulkinston Rovers, on the up.
Joe?
Yeah, I thought Sean Kenny-Dowell, to be fair to him, was unbelievable, wasn't he? It's unbelievable. So, yeah, Big Sean's pulled it out of the bag for them. Obviously, he's been missing last month or two? How long has it been out?
About 2 or 3 weeks, yeah.
2 or 3 weeks, yeah, last month. And obviously, it just shows how good he is still at, to be fair to him, still at his age now. He's obviously getting older. He probably can't do it week in, week out, but the talents that you can see what he's been to the sport of rugby league. He's been a brilliant player throughout all his leagues, and he pulled it off when they really needed. So fair play to Big Sean.
I actually thought the game was poor quality. I enjoyed the game as a watching it.
It was very scrappy,
but the quality was shocking, if I'll be honest. I give what Joe was saying about Kenny-Dowell, but for me, the kid who's keeping up 2 players I'll throw in and they show me, so we'll get some stick. But George King, without doubt, if he don't play in that pack, then he is just. And that come off. By the way, I'll quote that come off the well up at the club, and he rang me and said, "Look, gotta say this kid has been holding our pack together. When he doesn't play, it's enormous gap." The other one, and I think he's Superman. And if he don't get it teammate here, I'm going to be fuming. Jez Litton plays 9, 13, 7 he played the other day. Makes 2 clean breaks, must have made 50 tackles, plays 80 minutes every week. I rang Danny next day out with that fuming that Sky never give anything to Jez, and I said, what is it here? Is the agenda sometimes to mention the obvious player because it gets pulls? It supposedly pulls somebody watching it if they mention Jake Connor 50 times, Kenny-Dowell 50 times, 50 times. Is it that against boring saying, well, you're watching a 23-year-old kid here who looks outstanding? Yeah. Absolutely best player. For me, the best player on pitch by a million miles. And his energy, his age, he's crazy. And do you know what his stats are, Mick? I did this with Danny. I think he's nearly played every one but one. So he's not getting rested. Him and Parcell were supposed to be switching over and managing the game time. They keep Jez on now at loose because they can't do their defence line speed without him because he's that good in defence. He's leading the line in defence. So big shout out. But actually, game, thought the atmosphere was unbelievable. Big shout out to KR fans. And we're all willing Danny Maguire to do well. What a great start to his career. He said something after the game which I thought were absolute and spot on. He said, we're winning games and maybe not playing that well, but the spirit together is outstanding. And somebody said yesterday to me, we went to the Leeds game yesterday, we'll discuss that in a minute. Somebody said, how would you feel it, I thought playoffs? This is me, and I hope the lads understand it. They've got quite a lot of players coming back this week. Lynette, Ryan Hall. The big guns are starting to come back. Mikey Lewis. So they could have 3 or 4 back this week. Watching KR in that and watching Leeds yesterday, this is me being brutally honest, and you get stick for saying it. Leeds look in a better position to go into the playoffs than what KR would. I probably selfishly with KR don't mind if they don't get in playoffs. Purely because I think if they build for next year, they could do something special. I think this year to end up where they're going to do is brilliant. They've had the shocking injury list, they've had that. But I tell you what, if they could get all their players folded up, not many get injured at World Cup, and they could put them in a pre-season next year, and they're going away for a camp, and they've got 5. The signings they've made are fabulous. They've got it right this year. I think KR are a top 4 side next year, and it might not do them any good going into playoffs and getting more injuries.
Wow. Yeah, interesting. I think I really enjoyed watching Danny on the sidelines in that game. I thought I suppose as a player, he was very good at managing his emotions and staying, at a certain level and not wasting energy and getting too overexcited like we see Jake Connor, for example, not efficient use of your energy. But to see him on the touchline, like living every single second, even when Sky do that thing where they interview the coaches during play, and he's just focused on every tackle, every single second of it. So I enjoyed that. I totally agree with what you said about Jez. It's almost like some players, and not just our lads. It's almost like some players that just don't mention him. I sometimes feel like the pundits pick their man of the match based on the first 2 minutes and then try and justify it for the rest of the game. And
I never get it.
And no, and there's certain, you understand certain.
Have you ever been told that, Mick? Sorry, Jimmy, but probably apologies. Have you, as a pundit, and you've asked the man of the match, has anybody ever come to you, dare you admit this, would somebody ever come to you, a sponsor or a coach, and say, you need to drop him in, so we're trying to get him to sign a new contract, or...
No.
It's different on Sky as
No, it's never.
And I understand there'll be some
to get bites. Would they say go on about a certain place? Say you just signed Jared Samet. Do they say mention Jared?
No. I've never really had that.
Do you think that goes off?
Probably, yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I think if they get given 4 players to homework on, that's what they'll concentrate on, regardless of what they're seeing with their eyes.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Right. So Toulouse.
Well, the big game for Toulouse is obviously on Thursday now against Warrington, and time is running out. We know Wakefield had a very narrow defeat at home to Catalans, and you saw that improvement in their win against Castleford last week. Toulouse desperately need one more win. They need to get back above Wakefield. And that's the pressure's on Warrington. There's no doubt about it. I watched the Wigan-Warrington game on Friday night, and you could talk about what Darryl Powell's talking about, like it's very similar to what Ian Watson's talking about, the processes and obviously staying in the game. And by and large, it was competitive for an hour. But if you listen to what Matt Pete said, how he had his tactics, it tired him out. And you saw that in the last 20 minutes when Wigan went on the point scoring spree. Very disappointing for Warrington. Their slump continues. I'm not sure what Darryl does, because this is must win. Thursday's must win for Warrington. Craig.
It is, but if this is anybody who watches rugby league and studies it, if you see what they did for 60 minutes against the game the day before, that game was of much higher quality The completions were higher, the intensity were higher. If Warrington plays 60 minutes against Toulouse like that, let me tell you, Mick, and I'll call it early, they'll put 40 on Toulouse.
Yes.
I know pressure's a funny thing, and I know the fans are, but if the fans come to get behind the club, and they get behind them, and they play exactly like they did, nothing different, they might get blown away at last 20, whatever you want to say. They should have, that game, George Williams missed the pass.
Yeah.
Clean break, Ashton. You tell me any other club in the world, Ashton gets 6 metres start on an interception and gets caught within 4 metres.
Well,
it's the most bizarre play, and it should have been played everywhere. You've got a kid who can do a 10.1 GPS, and he gets caught with 6 metres start.
I agree. It was
by Jai.
No, it was
Fields.
Sam Halsall.
No, Jai Fields.
Sam Halsall bundled Ashton into touch.
No.
The other one.
The one I'm on about is the interception.
The interception. Yeah, apologies.
I'm on about the last minute.
Yeah.
But they will be, if they just play to what they did. George Williams were outstanding. He were running ball again. The back five were getting more involved. I'd like to see him get more involved in the carries because it definitely emphasis is on. Rob Malone and them started brilliant, didn't they? And then all of a sudden, like you said, 20 minutes to go, it were like somebody put. Yeah. But I think they've probably done that much work in middle. That's where you're outside.
Well, that's where Matty Pete said he realised where the game was going, and he wasn't surprised that the scoreboard blew out the way it did.
But I spoke to Matty Pete the day after and the day before, and he said he was going to say something on the Sky about box office players and our sport against other sports.
My eyes were wide open. I'm listening to you.
Somebody said last week, somebody said on thing that he's always asleep in middle. You must have that stare.
I'm just listening to you.
So he said he feels that our sport, we talked about how do you sell the sport better, and he said, do you think I should just more or less say, look, there's two players here, what they've got at the moment, or absolutely world class. Well, it is. Yeah. All rugby league should be saying, just play. Do you know what's interesting? You've got two of the best athletes, and did you hear what somebody said the other day? I think it was Jamie Jones, which I thought one nailed it. He said, forget about the players we've had before. He said, I've never seen players as athletic, but then they can both put a spin pass out either side. It's not just a running threat like Mike the Fire. He says these kids can step. Yeah. They can play lead, they can play right back. He said you've got these overall athletes who are really good. I don't think we're making enough of them. I think we're going to see. You mentioned something about your favourite bits of rugby league the other day, and you said the fullback at Saints.
Wellesby.
No.
Coop.
No, before.
Oh, Ben Barber.
Ben Barber. Are we not seeing two better versions than the
100%, yeah. Jai Field is the best player in Super League, fact. I'll challenge him.
Is he the best player we've seen for?
In terms of his...
most exciting.
The way he expresses himself, the energy on the field, the athleticism, the agility, yes.
That'd be a good one for the fans who have watched over the last 6 years.
I wish... listen, you can challenge me, but...
And French isn't far behind him, is it?
Yeah, I agree.
He just looks... I can't believe you've got two insane.
And it's just so mad that Wigan, for a number of years, have been that gritty, hard-working,
I think they still are.
frills. I know they are, but now they've not just changed that slightly and moved away from that a bit. They've gone, bang, let's put the two most exciting, entertaining players with this. And now, for me, I think I've got them close to favourites for this when it comes to the big game.
They've already beaten St Helens in the Challenge Cup at Ellen Road, as we know, so there is that psychological advantage in a no-holds-barred knockout 80-minute, where there has to be a winner. There's no league points up for
I think we'll run a bit of that, Sam. I don't know if we can do that and Joe get our footage, man. I don't know if we've ever run players' footage that are not ours. I wonder if we could put some stuff out of just them two. Because that'd be exciting, wouldn't it? If we're allowed to do it, I'd love to just roll it on our YouTube.
You should be able to, yeah.
Yeah. Just actually cut up them two to show people what is happening to our sport, and just we could call it something exciting, couldn't we? And say, listen, you want to know what rugby league's about? You've got Mick Gledhill getting arrested, getting absolutely hammered for not having switching off the machine. But then you've got Jai Fields and Bevan French, who, for me, again, I'll say again, are probably two of the best athletes we've ever had in the game. We're so lucky at this moment in time to have two people at the same time.
I'll stop you there, Craig. You've just said, blaming me for not turning off the machine. You could say, Mick, here's £1 million. Find out where that machine... I couldn't even tell you where the on-off button is on the machine, but point proven.
I didn't think I said that, but yeah. Next game.
But yeah, just a final point on Warrington versus Toulouse. Massive, you know. That doesn't need any more advertising because Sky are going to go hell for leather on it. That, for mine, should be one of the games of the season. We know Simon Moran's already put out the call to arms on Warrington social media. They're letting in people for, I think it's a £5 or a £10. They're wanting the Helliwell Jones Stadium to be packed to the rafters because they know that is basically shit or bust. Basically, Warrington win that's them out of that relegation picture because Toulouse will not win any more games to bring Warrington in. It would be a straight shootout. If Toulouse win that, oh boy. I've not looked at what Warrington's final fixtures are, but let me tell you, Craig, if Toulouse go there and beat Warrington on Thursday, that is it. It's on. Warrington, Wakefield, Toulouse, it's 1 from 3.
My 10p's worth is that I think Warrington, I don't see anything but Warrington winning that game, and I actually think it took a lot longer than we thought for them to put themselves out with it. But I think Warrington are going to have the biggest say in who gets in the top 6. Warrington have got both Leeds and Castleford to come, and it wouldn't surprise me if they get this Toulouse job done, but take that bit of pressure off, and then they could beat one of those two, and that could decide who gets in. They could beat both of them and have a really nice finish to the season with that, with that pressure off the back, or certainly some of it. They're still going to get stick for how they've gone this year, but I think they'll have a big say in the playoffs.
Wow. Yesterday's games then, obviously Leeds against Salford and St Helens against Castleford. I don't think any of us were at Wakefield versus Catalans, but
I've got some feedback.
All right, well, we'll start with Wakefield against Catalans. Obviously, another try for young Murphy. Little too late, but there's no shame. I know it's not 2 points, but there's no shame in going down to a very strong Catalan Dragons side. I think Fuanyaha scored a hat-trick.
Yeah, we're on that edge. I tried to watch it last night to try and watch it for Corey because he was on that edge.
Yeah.
Watching how it happened, and I think they got. It's not for us to pinpoint how it happened, but they've obviously targeted a bit. They're hoping that I think Corey gets there and Kershaw sticks in. They got on the outside of him twice, so you probably tell him to stick a bit out wide a bit more, but. Do you know what? And this is a bit of tactical stuff. Each team has different systems for that, Mick. I always remember when we had Bish, and Bish used to say, I've got to jam in on centre. If I miss it and he gets the ball, that's my fault. So I said to Bish, well, they're coming to attack. Your job is to make sure if the ball comes to the centre, you're going to jam in. If you miss it, it goes to the winger, it's on you, yeah. But then I didn't like the way the others sucked in, so do you get me there?
Yeah.
So some teams like their winger to be out. So they're not jamming on centre, they're just watching their man, they'll go man to man, they'll slide, they call it a sliding defence. They'll gamble that they can get there, which is, I'd be more comfortable with that. If you do the line speed one way you jam in, I think you've all got to jam. I think it's no good, if us lot on a defensive line, second rower, half back, centre, Mick, you're the winger today, is if we're here and we're going to go, I think Jimmy goes there, I go there, we all go.
Yeah.
And you jam in on centre, but we're all going to go in and down.
Yeah.
If you stay in, you've got to try and get them to go to the outside and trust you scramble on the outside to get there. The game looked really competitive. I think Willie were fuming. I think the coaches thought it were winnable. I think they were pissed off to death after the game. I think the fans thought it were winnable. The fans were behind them. I think it's probably 2 points missed in their head, Mick. But what you're saying is so true. Put it to the side. Was it a good performance? I always remember. Did you ever remember this when Mac went to playoffs and they were 5th, and he got challenged by some journalist about how bad Leeds were, and he said, and I'll quote him, he said, "No, our performance is getting better and better. Forget about result. Sometimes we can't control that. A ball bobbles, eyeball there, referee gives you 6 play against. What we can control is our own performance, and I think Wakey at the moment, form-wise, as in their performance, probably 8th and 9th. I think Toulouse, Mick, if I were being brutally honest, Toulouse at the moment are favourites to go down and probably are going to go down. And I've switched because 2 weeks ago we're sat here.
Change your mind every week.
I'll be honest.
Which is what you said in the programme.
Which I said you shouldn't do. You should change your mind every week.
You've got to change your mind because if you
I'm saying you should stay out of it and let it play out.
I think that's what we've built the show on opinions.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's all about having your
It's
opinion.
brilliant watching it every week. Saying
But no one's
egotistic
egotistic enough to want to just challenge it. So I've got it right all year.
Yeah, no, it's not about getting it right all year. It's about not diving in and making rash statements and letting it actually just stepping back and enjoying watching the playoff.
No, we're a talk show, son.
Without saying every week.
We debate. We're a debate show.
No, it's
Right, we'll do a quick sweeping.
Sammy's had one of his things again.
Listen, we'll go from right to left. Who's going down? I have still got, even after Wakefield's last grass Golden Point defeat to St Helens, the improvement against Cass, the improvement against Catalans, I still think Toulouse are gonna win at home, and that I hate to say it.
Sam, make sure you clip this up. This could be
I've still got Wakefield. I'm going to wear my heart on my sleeve. I've said for a number of weeks, months now on this show since we come back, I've got Wakefield to go down. I think Toulouse will just do enough to survive.
I'm going to learn and listen to what I said to myself last week and just enjoy it, Mick. I'm not making a statement today.
You can't sit on the fence, Joe.
I'm not sitting on the fence. I don't know who's going to go down. It changes, as Dad said, it changes every week.
Well, who is it? If it's changed, who was it last week and who's it now? Because clearly it's changed.
It changes.
You can't sit on the fence, Joe.
I'm not sitting on the fence. I don't know. I think they're both Wakey look good for 2 weeks. I'm not picking any. Wakey look good for 2 weeks, and then Toulouse look good 2 weeks after that. I can't make a decision at the moment.
Mick, we've done this show 9 years and we never let anybody sit on the fence.
Nobody's sitting on the fence, Joe. Who is going down? There's realistically only 3 clubs who are in danger, in jeopardy. Warrington, Wakefield and Toulouse.
So I think it's obviously Warrington or Wakefield or Toulouse. And going off the thing at the moment, you've got to say Toulouse, haven't you?
Well, there you go. Happy
but
days.
I'm not.
Toulouse.
Yeah, I'm sticking with him since the start of the year.
Oh no, I've just said no one's egotistic enough to say.
I'll claim it though. I'm the only one who's stuck with him.
Oh my God.
I think I'm the only one, and this isn't an anti-Wakefield bias.
As everyone else, are you?
I get on well with Michael Carter and Willie Poachin and a number of other people at Wakefield, but you know, I just feel, and I've said this from day one, I think Toulouse in the home form. I know they had a disappointing performance against
Toulouse got left, Mick, because you keep saying home form, but people listening don't have the rugby league.
I've put my phone on aeroplane mode so I don't get any more distractions because I've had Sky,
sorry, Jacks.
I will go into it now and I will tell you who Toulouse have, Craig. And I mean, while we're talking about the relegation battle, we'll do it. So here we go then. Right, here we go. So Toulouse. These are Toulouse's remaining fixtures.
You said home though. Your point is Toulouse will pick up at home. Who's the home?
Home fixtures. They've got St Helens. They've got Catalan Dragons. They've got Warrington.
But that second one, do we need to be? The only thing about do we need to be sceptical?
They've still got to go to Hull FC away.
But Mick,
Wigan away.
You never said away. You said home fixtures, but that's the hardest home fixtures I've ever seen.
Wakefield's fixtures, Craig. Wigan, Hull FC, Hull KR, St Helens, Huddersfield. They're both
as tough as each
other. Can I just say
they?
something, right? Based on that, and I did look at this earlier, I've probably got both winning maybe one game at a push each. One game each. You know, I know I thought Toulouse at this point now would be on 12 or 14, and I still said that 16 points is probably going to ensure you safety. But as we come to the final... No, but this quickly before the bacon butties come and we pause. I still feel Toulouse have at least one win in them. And if that win comes, Jimmy, based on the points for and against, that could be enough to keep Toulouse up.
The game is...
About to drop the sandwich.
Well, welcome back. We've just had a short edit. We've all had our bacon and sausage, as in Craig's case. He's on a low-carb diet, so he didn't have the tea cake or the bread. Joe had the egg. I think you had the egg as well, Jimmy. Right, we were in the process of dissecting Wakefield's final fixtures and Toulouse's final fixtures, and we think we both come to we all come to the conclusion, the general consensus is they're going to be lucky to win more than one, potentially two at most, games. Jimmy, you had a point to make. Catalans against Toulouse. Are Catalans, I'll put you on the spot here, can you see a similar situation to last week where Castleford, a lot of people believe this, I know it's rugby league and conspiracy theories, but a lot of people believe Castleford helped their neighbours out, Wakefield, with a big win. Craig, you've seen it with the Twitter comments.
I have, but I mean...
Yeah, I know. I just said it's a conspiracy theory. I don't subscribe to it. Can you see Catalans helping their neighbours out? It's not on Sky. It's going to be tucked away on a Saturday evening where people will only be looking at Twitter and flash scores or Sky Sports website. No one's going to know what's going on there in the south of France. Can you see Steve Mack and Bernard saying, "Here you go, Sylvan, here you go, Cedric. We'll see you in Super League
this has
next year."
been totally spun around. I wanted to suggest that. I didn't want to be put on the spot. But
All right, I apologise.
All I'll say is, what I was thinking is, the way that Castleford performance against Wakefield, for whatever reason, was one of the worst I've ever seen. It was so bad. I can't think of many worse. I remember Warrington and Hull KR at playoffs last year. I thought that Warrington performance was bad. But the conspiracy theorist, it's got to be one we're looking at, thinking, what sort of team will Catalan have out? What will Catalan really have to play for? You know, it could come down to whether they get a home tie or an away tie, but I don't know. Is it going to affect them that much? So let's wait and see. You'd like to think not. I'd never accuse a player of certainly throwing a game, no chance. It's more about the build up to a game, and if the French Rugby League are making a big thing, do players get drawn into that, and even subconsciously not necessarily tackle as hard if they know we don't have to win this game, you know, because we've already guaranteed our playoff spot. That's when, and it's going to have an effect. I think, I don't know if it's Saints play one of them last games. Saints could very well have guaranteed top spot. Did Saints play Wakey last game or Toulouse last game?
No, Saints have still got to play Toulouse last game. Wakefield go to Huddersfield last game.
So Saints against Toulouse last game. Saints will be guaranteed top spot almost definitely by then. So it's going to come down to that, and it's one of those.
And Toulouse have already beaten St Helens this year.
Yeah, I mean, I won't get too drawn into that, but I'd be worried about, or if I were a Wakey fan, I'd be looking at that thinking there's a chance that the team selection and performance is going to affect
and historically, like football, can you blame St Helens from doing that?
They earned the right, haven't they, by performing so well?
What, you know what I mean? That's been the argument in football. They say, well, it's terrible. Well, not really. If you were into playoffs 2 weeks later, would you rest all your best players who were over 30? Of course you would. And here's one for you. I'll throw one more into that smoke. The playoff system starts, then they go straight into a World Cup. Fatigue-wise, how hard is that going to be on the top players? Do you think any player playing in playoffs is thinking he's World Cup players?
Not at this moment in time, I don't think.
Not in the playoffs now.
No,
right. Maybe before to rest them. In the playoffs, you're going for grand final, aren't you? I think you'd go for grand final.
I think they'd be fully 110% focused on that personally.
Yeah. I think it's winnable. Any of them playoff teams can win. Wigan are looking really strong at the moment. Saints have obviously won the three-peat, but I think between them top 4 or even 5, you took Cass in there on the day, they can play as good as anyone. That's all to play for. That's a drop of the hat at the moment with Saints.
But it's weird. I know we should be saying, and that the top players what we've got, I've all mentioned it last week to me for the first time. I had somebody, I'm not mentioning it's not fair, but last night he spent 40 minutes.
Is it KR players, is it?
No, a Leeds player rang me last night.
Yeah, but I don't think because they probably perceive themselves not having much of a chance of winning the grand final.
No, we talked about the playoffs, but I'm saying to the switch and their opinion now is, I've noticed, I don't know if it's World Cup fever coming, I hope it is.
That's a Leeds player though, isn't it? That's not a Wigan, that's not a Saints, that's not a team
I've had the same thing with Wigan player.
What did he say without giving the identity of the player?
He said that, well, it's a personal thing with me as an agent and him as a player, but he said, do you think I'm playing well enough to get picked in the squad?
Right.
And I said, yeah. Do I think the style of the way you play suits the coach? Probably not. But I won't let that determine, because you're playing that well, keep on doing what you're doing. But I loved it because I'm hoping we're starting to get into... I've not heard much at World Cup, and I'm sure we can do a preview programme, get all the countries and try and do a bit of crack shaking as a few tops to come and do it, Mick. But it was first time last week I heard players talk about World Cup.
Good.
A lot of them saying...
That's good. Exciting.
And you know what? One of them, I'll give you a little one. One of them was his character is such that he think he could definitely playing it. But he said to me, what do you think my chances now? The weird thing is, I don't know when this will go out. England Knights have just picked their side. Paul Anderson's telling players this morning. I've already had 2 texts who've got in, which I can't break their confidence. But some of them all getting nasty devastated because it means
you're not getting in the main
Wayne's
team.
not picked her. So I've already had a couple and I've gone, oh my God, that means that is probably...
Craig, without giving the players' names away, were there some surprises?
I don't know all the squad, I just know ours, but I've just been getting... There's a great one coming for us.
Wow.
Brilliant bit of...
And I would suggest as well, if any player that's going to be involved in the playoffs, and even Leeds, who I think can upset anyone on a really good day, surely Sean Wayne is looking at how those players perform in big games where everything's on the line. He's not going to be getting carried away with the performance in the England friendly or performances in near enough dead rubbers. He's going to be watching who stands up in those playoffs.
I've got a feeling knowing Wayne, and I don't know him personally as much as what I do other coaches, but I think Wayne's already picked it, Jimmy.
Well, he might have 1 or 2. I do think that hooker, maybe that hooker position he wants to him, he's not going to.
I think it's already done. I think it's already done.
When I spoke with Mr. Wayne at the Magic weekend, he said there was 6.
Wow.
6 spots still available.
Wow.
So I think that's a fair comment from Mr. Wayne. End of the day, there's still a long way to go in the season, but like you say, Craig, subconsciously, based on the squad he had for the All-Stars game, he already knows which players and
I think only
which
thing
is going to go away.
That'll be injuries. Who gets injuries from now till.
But that wasn't that. When I say 6, that wasn't like 6 out of the 17 that are going to start in that first game against Samoa. That was 6 in the squad.
Yeah.
He has the ability. He's still got 6.
Are we against is Samoa the first game of the World Cup?
Yes, they play Fiji at Salford in the warm-up game, and then it's Samoa on Saturday the 15th of October.
If we lose that
at St James's Park.
That could be the be-all and end-all first game.
We did Leeds Salford yesterday. We went, and Jimmy went. It were bouncing. It's probably the best atmosphere I've still Leeds for a few years.
Is that the Rowan Smith factor? This sort of let's throw the ball around,
100%,
entertain,
100%. We were sat behind Ryan Hall, the legend Ryan Hall, and he was actually saying himself that type of thing. Because while it's bouncing, and he actually commented, he said, "I reckon if you'll want to avoid Leeds in playoffs," he actually said it as we were talking.
Oh, that's a fair comment.
And he said,
we saw what Leeds did against Wigan.
Yeah, and then I watched the game. Salford, top raps for Salford. I thought they were great. I actually thought they were great. And do you know, like the Warrington one, there were 2 or 3 things that Salford didn't pick the right pass. They could have got some serious points. I thought the ref had a massive influence on the game. And I hope this is not what's going to come and happen in the World Cup, but I don't know if the lads notice this. Anytime anybody goes here now, it's not just the referee, it's the player reacting. They're holding the chins. That I've never seen that, you see, so I'm a bit worried that I'm not saying we'd win the football job, Mick, we're not running about, but making sure the referee sees them and they're looking towards the ref, and then when they're on the floor, they're staying down because they know the more they stay down, the kid who's done it's going to get absolutely hammered. And it happened yesterday a lot. I've got to always talk like we see it. That upset me a bit because I don't want it to become about that. Because the World Cup's coming. Imagine if we've got 32 penalties a game, sin binning, sending. You pay £50 for a ticket to see Australia play, and in first 2 minutes, best centre it will get sent off because you'll be absolutely gutted. So the refs need to look at that. But big plus for Leeds was Salford were very, very good. They did a bit of Ian Watson job. They stayed. Paul Rowley's got them playing. Someone at Leeds players said to me last night, "You not believe the stuff they throw at you." That were his words. You won't believe the stuff they throw at you. So in shape, he's saying they've got that many things going off.
Great to watch.
Fabulous.
Yesterday.
So big raps against Salford, but Leeds Rhinos are absolutely. And do you know what? I don't know if you noticed this, Joe or Jimmy. Do you think Leeds played remarkably well?
Didn't think we played that well at all.
Me and Jimmy had a conversation about it before the show, and we said it was one of the strangest games to walk away from, because if you just watched that game, didn't judge it off the score line, didn't watch it, you would have said Salford were the better team. And I'd confidently say that to anyone. I think Salford looked in control. They looked like they had shape. They had the more yardage per set. Everything were going their way, and then you looked at the scoreboard at full time and went, wow. Leeds have not battered them because obviously on the pitch they haven't, but scoreline you'd say, wow, they've comfortably won that according to the score, and it were crazy. I think the ref probably maybe one day might hold his, he probably won't look back, but might hold his hand up and I made a few bad decisions there. There were a couple. One Brodie Croft, I believe the picture's been now put online of him touching the ball on the try line, and that didn't even get looked at. No. So that's a. I don't like to insult refs.
Well, Rowan watches this, so it'd be good because I get Rowan texts me every time we do a show and says you've got that one on, Craig, so he gives me a bit of a rollicking.
Well, I'll see what he says. There was a picture of him touching the line. Obviously, there were a video of the trip. Was it a trip? Was it a thing? There was a couple where the ref could have easily gone the other way, and I think then that would have swayed the game to Salford quite comfortably.
And it was different for me because I was opposite you. I was in the South Stand for the first time in many years. But being a much more impartial fan now, I'm listening to the fans around me, and I said to you before, didn't I, Joe, that Salford try, I had to clap it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And they were so entertaining, and I'm listening, there's a lot of biased fans around me like I used to be, and I'm listening and I'm thinking, I think Salford look brilliant, so entertaining. But I've not got to see them much this year, I've not seen a lot of them play, but I could understand why their fans were so vocal and even in defeat they were, because they must be loving it. What a great brand of footy, and Leeds somehow got the job done, maybe a little bit of luck with the referee and off to a great start, but...
Well, when Ryan made the cutout pass and it hit Ash's fingernails, it literally, if you watch it, Ash run straight away, he's in shock because he'd realised he's got the ball in his hand. Then he set off. And I said to Ryan last night, he goes, oh my God, he goes, I'd love a close-up of how he's got it. He says, because it was literally fingertip job. We can have a look. Do you know what good for Salford, apart from the obvious Brodie Croft, who is definitely a very good player. And I am so pleased this kid has come back to the form. Callum Watkins. Callum Watkins was immense. Every time Newman skipped across, I don't know whether Callum targeted him, but Callum went at him and absolutely got into it. And Harry's, when he's running across that thing, it's probably the hardest thing in rugby league to stop at the moment. Harry crabs and he's looking for a gap, and sometimes I think it's quite a selfish play because I don't know if everyone just wants him to do that, but he's doing this and doing this a lot. But I tell you what, Mick, Callum Watkins was absolutely immense. Honestly, absolutely immense. And it's weird, he's changed his game. I'm lucky enough to watch Callum Watkins, a 16-year-old lad. And Callum he wasn't really a yardage man. He was a skipper, get the ball in space, it's all over. He would score you 10 or 15, he'd set you to wing it up. Callum's hitting leads. And he's robust. And he's physically that strong now. He's turned his body into this... Did he play back row yesterday, was saying?
He plays back row nearly most of the season.
Back row, I've never seen that. So I watched him. And he's hitting lead after lead after lead. And I'm watching it thinking... There's a bloke here who's the most talented centre probably I've ever seen, and now he's turned into a lead second row runner whose defence is absolutely immense. He's an outside chance for the World Cup, let me tell you.
Well, he was on Sky the other week with Jamie Jones, and I think Jamie Jones alluded to that. They'd been chatting off camera about, I don't know what game he covered, but when Watkins was the pundit, he was saying how he's changed his body and he's worked on different things to become a back rower and to be able to adjust himself. He's obviously lost half a yard of pace, but to be able to adapt and do what he needs to do in the gym to change his body a bit, and it's just sports science and good coaching and great attitude from Callum to give himself a chance in a different position.
Where are Salford in the table? Because you look at, we're saying Leeds.
Salford are 7th. Like I say, the playoff race for the Super League playoffs
such a big game,
is between Castleford on 22 points, Leeds on 21. You've got Salford, Hull FC, Hulkingston Rovers on 20. Wow. So 5 into 2, 3 are going to miss out.
That's why that game.
Well, then I'm going to give Salford a rap. If they keep the bodies on the field, they are definitely dangerous.
Yeah.
I think that game yesterday was the big one.
We've been saying.
Are
that
you
for
saying,
weeks, though,
Jimmy?
aren't we?
Are you saying now advantage Leeds, Salford miss out?
I think so, but I think the last game of the season is Leeds against Castleford at Headingley.
Yes,
and
massive.
I think that's going to be.
That'll be the
huge.
decider for one of those two clubs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's going to be good.
I'd
like to see Salford in there because, like I say, I've not seen a lot of him. I've seen him on Sky a bit, but I thought that style of rugby just superb.
Well, I wasn't at Headingley yesterday. I know the crowd was nearly 15,000, so
Electric.
the fans are coming back. So, Rowan, you know I've always sung your praises from your days at Bradford and what you changed after Jimmy Lowe's when you come in 2016 and Kieran Moss, Dane Chisholm and Bradford throwing the ball around and scoring 80 points past Sheffield, 80 points past Oldham. You know, I always had faith in you from your North Devils days, you know, and Gary Everington. I still think, you know, this could be a massive masterstroke. I've not seen the game, Craig. There was 26 penalties in that game. You've said it was a lot of scrappy, 6 again and penalties. The referee were Ben Failer, probably the most experienced Super League referee we have.
How many of them could you find out, Mick? How many of them were for eye
I'd
shots?
have to watch the full game.
There just
Craig.
seemed to be loads.
But Paul Rowley afterwards, he was incensed that Caesar didn't get a red for the trip. Well,
because Gailey did. Gailey got a red and a band into for a trip.
Yeah.
And who were the other one? There's been 2 trips this year that both got heavy bans.
Yeah.
There was Gailey and
Someone did it before him, didn't
yeah,
they?
stuck his foot out.
Well, the game on Friday, Will Price is in trouble. I don't know if you've seen the footage, but after one of the tries, Will Price trips one of the Hull FC players up. So I'm led to believe that's been cited. It's all right, Huddersfield fans saying to me, well, you know, it's something to note, but it's clear on the footage. Will Price sticks his leg out and the old player goes and then it blows up in
This
black
is what
place.
worries me. It links into what you were saying before. I've never heard fans talk as much about being worried that some of the players are getting a bit too football-like in their behaviour. And I'm seeing it more in younger players. Harry Newman got in trouble for doing that with the referee.
James Bentley, Will Price. If Will Price goes
there's
again,
a recurring theme here, and I think this is where we're proud of the fact that our players respect the ref and don't behave like footballers do, or certainly Premier League footballers. That's where the senior players, I'd like to think, if JP's in that change room and he sees, you know, I'm not going to go at Harry here, but what Harry did the other week with the referee, he goes, don't ever do that again. In fact, don't talk to a referee for the rest of the season, like, learn.
Correct.
And I'd like to hope the senior players are going to take a lead here so our standards don't drop. Because we don't want to get to that. We don't want to get to that because we don't need that in the game. No matter how bad the referees might be, just learn to...
There were a couple of shouts in the crowd at the game of people saying exactly that. Oh, it's not football.
Yeah.
Loads
Because
of
of the
them.
play acting.
well, it's got to be stamped out, and that starts, like you say, with each club's leadership group,
Coaches.
captains, the coaches, even down to the referees.
Yeah.
You know, Steve Ganson. If there's play acting and there's players literally, if the tackle's legal, and then all of a sudden they're down and they're rolling around. Well, I'm sorry, you know, similar to what you see in Premier League football or Championship football, if someone feigns a dive, yellow card, well, there you go. If you're going to roll around, you go for 10 minutes. Strong action, strong direct action would soon put that in
Another
the
one
bud.
is when this is nightmare. The game's got faster. The refs are getting more involved when they give that. If you've just defended 2 sets and then they give a penalty on a 4th, it's now probably game over for the team if they hit 3 or 4 sets on the bounce. The energy that's been zapped for them. So the referees becoming, in the way the speed of the game is so important, right? If every player is told, and we need some, I'd like you to get something because you've got friends in the referee things, you certainly have now, you're famous, is that you...
What do you want me to do? I'll ask him. I'll ask him after the show.
But I'd like to know, is it any touch? Because if you look at, if we're now saying they need to do a pre-season, and I know the referees went this year, they probably need to re-identify saying, is it anything above a certain point? Any touch, I mean, even that, anything. It looks like it is because I seen one of them yesterday, I'm not going to mention player, it literally was that, and he's like gone, as though he's been shot, and I'm thinking, can you imagine the legends who played our game doing that, you know?
If you're thinking of Lewis Schufre, we'll talk about that in the Championship.
No, don't forget about that. I'm on about, could we probably need to know. I
think it's direct contact.
Do you know how many
direct contact
how many
to the head,
people
isn't it?
understand the rules? Because I don't know if you do, Mick.
Well,
I don't. Do you know what the rules
tell you
are?
what I will try.
Do you know what the rules are?
Direct contact to the head is my understanding.
Yeah.
Any direct contact to the head, even a finger.
If it bounces off the chest and hits the head, that always they get given now. They didn't used to get given.
So even if you go chest face,
I think they get given now, whereas 5 years ago
Correct.
they didn't.
I've got on my laptop at home when we at the start of the season we were on with Ralph Rimmer, Karen Morehouse, Robert Hicks. Robert was quite
a friend of the show.
Robert's been on the show. Robert was very clear in what we're seeing now, and I know we're going to go on to the championship in just a moment, but you saw it last night. That's the best example I can give you is the Johnny Campbell Lewis Chauffret incident last year. That would not have been a red card. That would have been Lewis. Come on, get up. It's just a penalty. Because it wasn't a clenched fist. Craig Lingard was quite right in his post-match comments. That was not a clenched fist. Clenched fist, yes, you can argue a red card. When it's just a open palm like that to the face.
I disagree. I think
Jimmy,
it's far worse than an open palm to the face. If someone strikes you with the palm of your hand, it can hurt as much as a clenched fist.
I know what you're saying.
I think it's about intent, and there was serious intent in what he did to Chauffret's face.
But Johnny Campbell is that type of player. He's always been that physical kind of player.
I know he is, and it's not on Jimmy. He's right though.
No, I'm not defending what Johnny's done. I'm just saying, Craig, last year, that would not have been a red card. What Robert said was because the RFL are in all these legal lawsuits with former players who are claiming dementia and other head injury related illnesses, what their sport has to do is, if in say 10, 15, 20 years time, Lewis Chauffret, I'm just talking theoretically here, Lewis Chauffret starts having head injury related illnesses, he could pick that clip if Scott Michalowskis, the referee, hasn't sent Johnny Campbell off, and he can say, well, look, here you go, I've played this sport, this has not been punished. The RFL, to save themselves financially, can now go back, if that ever was the case, and say, well, hang on a second, look at this incident here, the referee sent him off and Johnny Campbell's been given a ban.
I think you've lost your argument there. Don't mind me saying this.
That is the argument from Robert Hicks.
No, I know it is.
The RFL are covering themselves by punishing with the bans and the red
cards. Let me put another
cards.
side to you there, because you've definitely got a bit thin because of your familiarity. What Johnny did was hold hand and he's palmed him 3 times 8 clock. Yeah. He's brought blood. The kid's gone down. Whether a tough man, what they're saying is, should he have stood up? I don't know. Someone hit me like that 3 times, and it looked totally aggressive. Yeah. What happened? And it was at the time of the game where Batley lost the game. There were a lot of frustration. For me, his mate should have got round him quicker and said, "Look, Johnny, calm down here. The game's gone. Yeah. Anybody getting sent off when you're 12, 15 points down is not good."
Can we all agree?
Let me finish. My debate with you is this, and this is probably bigger than the Rugby League. UFC and boxing. Yeah? Have both got blows to the head. Do we all agree?
Yeah, of course, but that's the nature.
Let me finish. So they've got blows to the head. And that, if you took the blows to the head out of boxing and UFC, what would happen?
No sport.
Well, you've no sport.
Would you say they get more blows then in the game than a Rugby League player does?
Yeah, of course.
So how are they insurance-wise?
They're not boxing. I've had loads of issues with.
No. But how have they doing it and getting away with it where we are getting claimed for all this? Yeah, I would say if you put our sport in a list, we're probably a million miles away from UFC and boxing. Do you agree? UFC is now the fastest growing sport in the world.
But boxing has
UFC is the fastest growing sport.
Boxing has had loads of claims against it for dementia, for head issues, for not doing enough to protect it.
But there's no choice in what's the choice?
No, the point is that there is things going against them, things that them sports as well. So they're having to try think of ways to legally cover that for boxing.
But you're never going to be able to say to a boxing match, you can't hit in head.
No, you don't say that.
They might change the gloves, they might change the equipment, they might make changes.
They're changing the safety processes afterwards.
I get it.
So this is what I said. When we was on the call, Robert said anything directly to the head will be a red card and it will be a lengthy ban.
And there's not wrong with that.
Because that is going to be, when it goes to court, I'm not saying every player who plays the sport from now, here on in, are going to, 20 years down the line, look to sue the RFL if sadly they do have head-related like
Do
dementia.
you know if you give it on a pin though?
The RFL are covering themselves.
I get it. But if you put a list of sports, right? Let's say rugby union, yeah.
They've got the same issue.
Have you ever been in rugby union? No, I'm going to give you as a sport. Forget about rugby league. Let me say, one of the most dangerous things I've ever witnessed, and I only witnessed it as a scrum half or just tap in the back, is the scrums. Rugby league scrum. You look at the strain that they put. I think the same.
Rugby union.
Rugby union
200 ton, whatever it is. And when they hit each other. I look at them lads, and I've met some rugby union players. You want to see them afterwards. You can see them move. They must have neck problems for the rest. That to me seems that I'm happy this new rule's coming. I'm happy that thing is, but eventually you've got a fine line in making every rule safe, Mick, and then not coaching it. To get me? So for us to just jump into this rule and give 22 penalties a game because this, that. Sometimes it's a mistake. Do you know if somebody's turned you quick? The one yesterday, somebody skipped quick. They've left the arm out.
Yeah.
Surely there's got to be a common sense rule on saying he hasn't done that intent.
But this is it. This is what I was saying. For me, those.
Because we're going to have a nightmare. We're going to win the World Cup and we're going to have 30 penalties a game.
But that's why I think going back to.
It's actually much less than it was at the start of the season. You're mad about it now at the wrong time of the season.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. As a sport,
Everybody's accepted it, Craig.
Well, it's been accepted.
Did you enjoy that yesterday?
At the level we're at now is miles better than what it was at the start of the season. I don't mind.
Yeah, but usually Mick will tell you grand final time, and lads will tell you JP and all them. They usually let it go. They say it's time to. Do you know what Matty Pete once said to me? I hope I don't quote him for a tell-off. There's less penalties when we play six than the other game because the ref knows it's on.
Yeah, correct.
The ref knows that both teams are going to go at it, and that's the way it is. And you watch it, he goes, I can prove it to you because they've got the stats.
No,
the top games
spot on.
are allowed to flow.
Yeah. Yes, and we've seen
That's
that
true,
historically.
That's true.
Yes, there's no argument with that.
You never get a grand final or a Challenge Cup final with 26 penalties.
Agreed.
All I've been trying to say for a little while is going back to that Jeffrey thing, get all links in is. I think we have to accept that direct contact to the head is part of the game, and I don't want to see people getting sent off for it. What I do want to see is people get sent off for deliberate direct contact to the head and direct contact to the head with intent. That's the thing for me. What Campbell, is it Johnny Campbell?
Johnny Campbell, yes.
What he did last night for me, get him off because he's directly hitting to the head
3 times,
on
yes,
purpose,
it's
right?
repeated,
But
yes.
when someone puts a lazy arm out and catches him in the head,
Like James Bentley against Warrington.
At the start of the season.
Yes.
For me, 10 minutes. Intent is the worst thing. Players who try and hurt their fellow pros in the head, I think is disgraceful. We had one last week at the Bash in the eye.
Correct.
Disgraceful. Throw the book at them because that needs stamping out. A high tackle, which is part of the game, or even a massive hit below, and you're trying to work someone and trying to make them feel it and put them off for 5 minutes. That's all part of it. That's probably the best part of our game is the physical combat. But when there's intent, throw the book. Don't send someone off for a lazy arm when they get stepped by Jai Field. You know.
Be great to see them penalties yesterday if you could, Mick, and we won't be able to clip it up. I don't think we've got, unless Sam could be.
Well, you'd have to get the full game.
I'd love to get a referee.
I wasn't that inflamed yesterday.
Were you not?
No, not massively. Not
Oh
over
God!
The,
And by the way,
over some of the play acting, I was a bit.
You see Rowley's face when I said hello to Paul and I nearly walked into that
wasn't
post.
happy.
He were fuming, wasn't he? And he's just said it. He was mad at the thing. I reckon Paul will be fuming.
Yeah,
he's mad at the tripping more than anything.
Yeah, because mad at the tripping
I've
and
not
mad
seen
at the
that
try,
incident.
mad at the try that did it. That got not even looked at when it was a try.
We never mentioned the penalty count.
No, it was the
No.
tripping.
From what I understand, it was the Caesar trip. That's I rating.
I don't. It must be me then. And
26 penalties is.
I think
and there were 5 times yesterday. Do you know when Salford were on attack, or Leeds were on attack actually? Salford player went down. They had 2 minutes for Salford to get a rest. I was like, Danny Maguire says it all the time. Rugby league is best when it's played when you're having fatigue, because then you'll see the tries, you'll see the excitement. Leeds did it, the one where Salford are in a good field position. Leeds player went down, Mick, and I didn't know if this has changed. They're both running on 2 people with water, but the player can stop there. 2 minutes, you all right, Jimmy? You all right, Joe? How's defensive line, lads? Do you get me? And then that is a direct advantage for the player that goes down. Yeah. Would we not be better, Mick, for safety reasons? The player goes down, he automatically goes off.
You'd still have to stop it though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but it's straight off.
Yeah, but it's
You can't have 3 minutes.
Yeah, but the problem is if it's to the head, they can't move him.
No, not about head. This one, not head. This one, legs, ankles, this, that. Just get them off. Because it's a risk.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I just think it's teething issues. They've had to react very quickly to all these claims and to new evidence, new research. And they need to make it safer. But it's a fine line, because if we lose the physicalness, which I totally agree with you, and we don't accept that it is part of it, which I think most players do, then the game is gone. Because most neutral people, you ask them what do they respect about rugby league, you know,
Honesty,
multi-sports
toughness.
fans, it's that toughness. The game's built on that. Any Jai Field, Bevan French, Mikey Lewis, flamboyance is the cherry on top of the cake.
Right. Agree. I'm going to put the call into the RFL. I'll see if we can get maybe not so much a referee to come on, but, you know, be good to actually
see how much the penalty counts have gone up percentage-wise. We get us some stats. It'd be great to know that.
No. We'll do that for next week. Right, we'll move on into the championship, round 22.
Have you done every game of the Super? I thought we'd missed one. Huddersfield.
Oh, sorry, yes, Huddersfield against Hull. Well, we touched a little bit. I mean, Huddersfield are where they are, the third in the table. I don't think they're going to get anywhere near St Helens. They might be able to catch Wigan up, but again, you know, there's 3 points behind them. The points for and against. Again, you know, being perfectly honest, the top 4 is sorted. St Helens, Wigan, they'll be the top 2, and then Catalans, Huddersfield, it'll be how they sort themselves out. And as we said below that, you've got Cass, Hulkisser Rovers, Hull FC, Salford and Leeds. Two from 5. 3 will miss out. And that's pretty much where the Super League is. Huddersfield, you know, to the credit, you know, a couple of late tries, come from behind. Hull FC, again, they seem to be stuttering a lot long, no consistency. I know we'll get a couple of Hull FC fans who watch the show, my good friends Rob and Roy from Hull. You know,
you get the same thing from Hull every time. It's what the
it's inconsistent.
No, I mean the play. It's not inconsistent to Mick. It's fatigue. It's they haven't got a big enough squad, and the middles are getting fatigued. In the last 20 minutes, they're falling apart, and they're getting them. If you watch it, they
said that for a couple of years.
But they have had. I mean, certainly until the injuries okay have had, but they certainly haven't got a big enough squad to carry it. Yeah. But the good thing, some youngsters are getting some good game time. We're selfishly, Mick Jack Walker's got 2 man at matches out of the four he's played. So for Jack, it's been an amazing move. He's
Does that become permanent? I know you had the meeting.
We've got a meeting tonight.
Oh, is it a meeting tonight? Yeah.
So that'll be discussed. But Jack's apps. I saw a tweet he put out. Somebody sent me it, and he's like, "Oh, I want to say thank you to the old fans for making me feel welcome." And there were quite a lot of them were saying how good it is to have him outside. He's playing. Only thing I can feel a bit bad for is when they're in good ball, he has to. I can't believe it, but I said to him last week. I said, Jack, when you're in good ball, why are you not getting that ball in there on edges? It's well, I think Jake gets to have that good ball and then slots off back to his position, which selflessly for Jack, we don't want Jack making 30 tackles, 20 carries, and then not having that little bit of toffee with the good ball. So we need that. But do you know what? They've said they've got quite a few players back. Yeah. It'll be interesting around whether they'll get enough players back. Because I watched Cass on TV yesterday. Saints don't look. We've got the stats we proved last week. Saints are not playing as effective as what they have done.
Correct.
Cass will look all right. I kept saying, Joe, hey, watch Cass here. They're playing all right here. They look quite exciting to play. Is the playoffs going to be more exciting from that 4th to 7th than what the top 2? Because, like you said, that's already done. We know the bottom 2, Toulouse and Wakey. That little bit now could be the fun bit, couldn't it?
Oh, it is, yeah.
Well, it is going to be.
That's why Sunday is so big.
You said that, but that's what we've done the whole show and how that's bits the most
exciting.
exciting.
Yeah, it is. You know, which 2 out of the 5 clubs are going to be joining Catalans, Huddersfield, Wigan and St Helens?
Who's your playoffs?
My playoffs? Okay, well, if we're going to stick with the top 4 of St Helens, Wigan, Huddersfield or Catalans, either 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, who's your 2?
I'm not saying this because I'm a big Rowan Smith fan, but what he's done at Leeds and the way they dismantled Wigan and the way they seem to be finding consistency, I've got Leeds in there.
And?
Castleford.
Oh, baboom.
I'm going to lock it in. I'm locking it in.
Brave call, Mike. I like it.
Sorry, Salford.
Have you gone just Yorkshire? Have you just gone Yorkshire?
How have I gone Yorkshire?
You've just said Leeds and Cass.
Well,
where they're from?
Yorkshire. Then I've also got the Catalans in there. And
we set the 4. Stop it, Mick. Stop it. We set the 4. Joe?
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm going. I'll be risky. I'm gonna go Salford after what I saw. I think they should have won the game.
Who's dropping out?
You're getting told off on programmes, me and you, for saying Salford. We must say something wrong.
It's Salford.
It's Salford.
I say Salford and all.
You picked it up off him,
Salford.
I can't help it.
I think Salford, and I am going to go. I don't know how controversial.
You don't have to be controversial. Go with what you got. Your gut instinct.
You're going too old, aren't you?
No, I'm going Salford, and I think.
Not who you want. Who is going to be getting injured?
All right, I'm going to go Cass and Salford. Then I'll play set. I think Cass have probably just got enough, haven't they? That extra point.
Left Leeds out. Rowan. Sorry, son.
I think obviously, Leeds have hit form, but.
It's all coming together for me. It's Leeds.
Right, I'm going to go. Jimmy, you go. I'll save myself for last.
I alluded to it earlier in the show. I think Cass and Leeds, and I think it's going to come down to that last game at Headingley
for one of them.
Who gets 5th and who gets 6th. I think
they'll
both get in.
Yeah, same
but
with
it
me.
just might be a big factor for who gets to play who. I'd like to think there'll be something.
Sam, could you put this on short so we remember it? So we're actually going to be identified. So
I haven't studied all the fixtures though, and I don't think
you need to, because
no, you're not a solicitor, Jimmy. You're a pundit. I'm going to go with Joe. I think what I saw to Salford yesterday. Oh God, I've done it again. Salford yesterday. I've got to have Salford in that. Honestly, that's how impressed I was.
They were excited.
And I don't know what to do with rest because I've got Cass Leeds.
You've got to pick your OKR.
Well, no, because I get OKR bias. I don't want OKR in there. I think they need to rebuild for next year. So I think all are in the same position. I think all need to rebuild and save the bodies. So I'm looking at Cass or Leeds. There's 1 point difference. Oh God! This is the
probably
6 rounds to go. 6
and
rounds
I've got Leeds are playing OKR on Sky on Friday. We're going to that match. Cass have got Catalans at home.
Cass play Leeds at last game of the season at Headingley. So that's what you. Do you think Leeds can beat?
I think whoever wins that game, I'm opposite you. I think whoever wins that game will make the playoffs.
Yeah, but you think Salford will be definitely.
Yeah,
I'm going with Jimmy. Listen, I'm sticking with how it is now.
Salford and Leeds.
Wow. There you go. Well, welcome back to the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. Yes, we've had to do a little bit of an edit because I said something I shouldn't have said and I will never repeat it again. But we thought we'd finish the show looking at a little bit of transfer rumours and speculation on where certain players are going, or what we're hearing, or what I'm hearing, or or basically what's happening in the world of rugby league. There's been a lot of murmurs, boys, on where Bevan French goes next year. Does he get an improved offer from Matty Pete to stay at Wigan? Does he go elsewhere? I know from speaking with Derek at the Summer Bash, Derek wants Bevan French at Lee next year. He's prepared to meet his agent's contract demands. I think that'll be an absolute coup for the Lee Centurions if you get Bevan there. I know there's also the issues with who they're keeping in the current squad, because we know that the Championship doesn't so much have the quota spots, but obviously Lee, as I predict, will be in the Super League next year. They'll navigate the £1 million game. Listen, Chris Chester, Adrian Lamb, Derek Beaumont, there's going to be a lot of movement at Lee next year, especially if you're talking Bevan French is coming.
Wow.
Well, Joe, you heard a bit of that yesterday as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we got news from some people in the crowd actually that says he's signed for Lee for a decent amount of money on the side. So if that is true,
That's not money on the side. What do you mean?
Not money on the side, but you know what I mean. Money in general.
Money's been a factor.
Yeah. That's. I think Jimmy knew what I meant, but yeah, definitely. So if Lee had pulled it off, as you said, that would be an amazing signing for Lee. And if people in the crowd are right, that would be a great player for Lee next year.
And I think what this shows with Derek is
he's going for it.
This is a bit more patient, a bit more controlled. How they're doing the recruitment.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by to me, it's hard to describe it, but when you talk about controlled, Lee are obviously favourites to go up. They are going to go up, in my opinion. I don't think anyone here is going to doubt that. Yes, there is always the chance in a one-off game they may, have a sucker punch against Featherstone, which would be a travesty. A lot of championship coaches tell me that's the best ever championship team ever. It eclipses Toulouse when they went up. It eclipses Toronto when obviously David Argyle and Brian Noble and everybody was pumping the money in.
Said it on the show, maybe 6 weeks.
No, but everybody's saying...
Yeah, everyone agrees that, but what
I'm saying is,
recruitment?
In terms of the recruitment, Lee are confident, very similar to what Keighley are doing in League One, in that they're now not going to be left when it comes to 1st of October and the £1 million game takes place. They're not going to be scrambling for scraps. They're actually showing confidence, control, patience in their ability to go up, and Derek's backing them with the checkbook. That's what I meant by...
I get you, but there's a big if in there. Is, as an agent, if you're signing deals and Derek's spending 1.9 million, if they did stay in Championship, would we have a 1.9 million pound team in the Championship, or have all them players got clauses to say that if they didn't? Now, if I were gonna, let's take Bevan French. If I've got Wigan offering a 3-year deal, and I've got an NRL club and I've got other clubs, and then I've got Lee, and then I've got Lee offering, but they're still not up technically. As an agent, you'd probably try and cover all bases, because as much as we think Lee are 50-1 on to win that game, Rugby League, as we know with Sheffield Eagles in the Challenge Cup against Wigan, at 100-1 against. Yeah. We've seen it this year when Toulouse beat Saints, whatever. We can talk about it. So what I'm saying to you is, it'll be, as an agent, if Bevan has got interest at these clubs, it'd have to be some serious brass for you to say, as an agent, don't sign for Wigan after what they've done for you. That'd be my thing, and saying, wow, it has to be £100,000 difference.
Yeah.
And if it is £100,000 difference, you drive him to the club and say, good lad, we've all done our job, enjoy your next 3 years. Yeah. Either way, it's exciting.
I mean, Blake Ferguson, for example, I understand, has signed his 2-year deal regardless of division.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I find it hard to believe Bevan French would do the same, but like you say, if he does, all I think it shows, and all it shows, is that the difference, like you said, is significant. It must be a third, if not double, the amount Wigan are offering. Because, you can try and blag it any way you like, and in some deals there are other reasons, but I don't see how this can be anything but money related. And Wigan obviously value him at X amount. And what? We must all agree Bevan French is, in current market, 200, £250,000 player.
250, yeah.
So if it, and let's say Wigan are in a situation where they can't go that, but they must be close to 200 with what they're offering, I'd imagine.
Wigan won't offer nowhere near that.
Let's say 150. So Lee could be offering $250,000.
Yeah,
and that's
a third more. Yeah,
but fair play to Degsy if he's. We thought he was going for it already. You're talking about this player and perhaps somebody else shortly. You're not talking about just going for it so they can mix it mid-table. You're talking about challenging for the top 4 in the first year. If the next name Joe's about to drop's anything to go by.
Whatever happens.
I'd lead the signings next.
Whatever happens, whether we go down 210s or licensing, there'll still be promotion and relegation between a Super League 1, a Super League 2, or a Super League and a Championship. And Derek, quite rightly, does not want to spend all this money getting there and then coming back down that trap door. That yo-yo effect. So fair play to Derek.
He's learned from the past.
Another rumour that's doing the rounds is Ricky Latelli. Where's he potentially going to be going? There's all sorts of rumours that he might be going. Catalans, Lee, another one for Lee. Ricky Latelli to Lee. That's what I heard the other day.
What's he going to have a back line of Ricky Latelli, Bevan French,
and Blake Ferguson?
Nene McDonald, Blake Ferguson.
Well, I don't know if Nene's signed
Here's one for you. I'm going to throw one in for you. I hope they don't tell. But this is a bit of crack, so please don't all go serious on us. I've heard Leeds have got a bit of an interest in him.
Nene McDonald.
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense, wouldn't it? Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah. And that's the key.
I think they were a little bit in Latelli, and then it went, and then it won't surprise me if he's got
You'd
an
think
interest.
it'd be more Rowan's cup of tea for that added athleticism and speed, wouldn't you? Then I mean, I think Letelli's been one of the best players all year, but then he's maybe got a little bit more excitement and potential.
I mean, look, whatever happens, Lee are here to stay. You know, this isn't a shit or bust project by Derek as he's done previously.
Unless Halifax pull off the biggest upset of all time in semis.
One joke you're on.
Well, I was going to say the next few signings or so if you keep...
No, I'm just
the
thinking
base
there,
story.
when Mick uses that a lot with Eric Chitor-Bust, I think he's historically been at the club 10 years now, so he's proved that he's in for the long haul.
No, what I meant by that boom or bust sort of comment is it's not the first time. He's done it 2 times when he's had to save the club by getting rid of the players. That's what I mean.
Listen, anybody, and I've said this before, anybody who's, I mean, if you're asking who is going to bring the most excitement to Rugby League by coming up next year, if these are true,
Lee.
we've all need Lee. And
If they're signing Ben
usually a
French,
lot of
they're gonna tell
chairmen that are a bit fearfully like, oh, they're up and down. There's too much this. If he's on about bringing this type of razzmatazz,
Totally different to anything he's done before.
Unbelievable.
It's totally different.
Chris Chester, big shout out, director of football, managed to bring up the stars.
I get him well with Chester.
Getting him in there, but it must be a great job, that, innit? Go and get whoever you like. It's like that documentary on Barcelona from years ago, where they just.
Although Derek won't admit it, because I did ask the question to him, you know, is this a bit of Marwan's cash, you know, filtering through, you know, but no, Derek, he's had a good year because we've had 2 years of COVID.
Of course.
Obviously, a certain age demographic with second and third homes, they're all looking, hang on a second, you know, my nest egg's this sittering away there, let's get on the phone to Degsy and let's get some new decking done, you know. Honestly, no, Derek's right. Coming out of COVID, he's never been busier.
No.
His business is booming.
Absolutely.
And fair play.
And brilliant for him to chuck in the game instead of buying a yacht. You know, that's what we want in rugby league, isn't it? People who
listen.
spend
one thing you get with
cash
Derek
on it.
is honesty, and I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, and you can call him a Marmite owner, very similar to Nigel Wood, and other owners out there. But you know, fair play to Derek. He's put his money where his mouth is. What are you laughing at?
You're putting boot into Nigel mid.
I'm not putting the boot
talk
in.
about mid talk about leg.
Nigel Wood will tell you he is known as the Marmite man in rugby league. You either like him or you love him. There's no middle ground.
Well, going from Leeds, I think they've pretty much had 2 announced signings. I don't know if they've officially announced them themselves, but on Twitter yesterday we're roaring, saying it's pretty much done. And one of them is Daryl Alfords from Castleford.
Yeah, I heard this a long time ago. Yeah, that'd be interesting, you know, because he's a yardage monster. But I know Rowan watching the show, but I'd be absolutely shell shocked because does that put the young Leeds lads, Alvert, to be on a 3-year? You wouldn't leave Castle unless you're on a 3-year.
No.
That means they've got Ash on a 3, and then they've got him on a 3.
Fussy too, yeah.
So that's 1, and then Tyndall 2 about his opportunities. So that'd be quite a shock to me, but I did hear it 3 or 4 months ago.
Well, I did hear.
Yes.
I did hear potentially.
It's been confirmed pretty much.
No, I'm just saying, like you say on Liam Tyndall, Craig, from my sources close to Bradford, Liam Tyndall to Bradford. I know he's your player. You can probably confirm or deny, but
I've heard none of that. I've heard none of that, and I'd be shell shocked.
No,
I'd be shocked for lad, Mick, because
Would a year
On loan,
on loan, on loan. Jimmy knows where I'm coming because me and Jimmy have spoken about this. Liam Tyndall comes to Bradford next year on loan. We're talking on loan, not permanent. I know what you're going to say. At his age and his development, that's probably going to mean he's not ready.
you're asking me. Me in my mind, I don't think he does anything for him. I think I'd love him to see him get 25 games at Bradford. He'd love with Bradford. But from the Leeds point of view, in signing Elverts, it's for me, he'd be better off going to another Super League club where he would get, this is my opinion, talking honest, there'll be 4 or 5 Super League clubs where Liam could get a better opportunity. If that's Leeds' call, they need to be big about it and say, no problem. Yeah. We see Elverts as here for 3 years. We don't see
if you've got Ash, through. If you look at Pathway, which we speak about a bit, you've got Ash on a 2-3 year, you've got Alfords on a 2-3 year. 1 year at Bradford, he's just going to end up back at the same place after that year anyway.
No, I agree.
And injuries, you're playing through injuries, and he's probably, I think he's got a little bit more than that. And that's not against Bradford. It'd be great for him. But for me, I think I'd be saying to Liam and to Leeds, look, We don't want to just stockpile here and play 4 games a year, back to Bradford, back to Leeds, back to Bradford, back to Leeds. And a lot of coaches use this one, and I don't like it. I've never liked it. And my good friend, who I'll not mention, says it a lot. You know, what's wrong with competition? Hey, it's good for competition. I would say most of the time, if you're in Super League, you know this, Mick, if you've got players at your side at Bradford who are on big money,
Correct.
they're playing. You thought they were shit, but they're playing.
What do you mean? I thought, oh, was
Well,
shit.
I'm not.
No, it just means in
Some
general,
of
if
the
you've got
ones-
a big money signing, even if they're playing
You
bad,
thought I've
they
seen
get
you
in the
said to
team.
me, oh my God, but they're going to play because Nigel sunk 40k into them. They're playing. They're playing.
No, listen. Yeah.
Historically, they're playing. So if they've stuck 80 grand into Alverts, they've got 100 and whatever into Ash, and you've got Tins on 50, whatever it is, as a young player coming through at Leeds. He's done the year and a half waiting.
Yeah.
He's done the patience thing. I just don't like. This is my own gripe. And by the way, Leeds are not the only club. There's 10 other clubs who are doing it. Yeah. Let them go. And sometimes if they get the better opportunity, don't wait till
pathways too black. But what's Fuzzy
we've
Tour on?
seen with
Has
Callum
Fuzzy Tour got
McClelland,
another
as we've
year?
seen
And I'd be
Jack
surprised.
Broadbent.
I'd be surprised. I'll throw one in here. Others might have a laugh about it. If that has happened, and I don't know if it has. If it has, Joe said the rumours on thingy.
Yeah, I think it's
Pretty much been confirmed.
They let them take Tyndall.
Yeah, but I don't see Ash Hanley. I know Alfred's. When people have questioned the signing, everyone starts going, look at his meters. Ash Hanley's top meter maker in the Super League.
Correct.
Fussy Tour, you know, we saw him play yesterday. We've seen him play a few times now. If he can play a full season, he won't be far behind Ash Hanley, if not in front, because he can't half carry the ball. So it's clear what Rowan's style of play is, but I don't see Daryl Alford's getting him that team in front of them two. But I don't know how many years Fussy Tour's got left. Has he got another year next year?
Yeah, one more year.
So Alford's for me is going to Leeds to wait for a chance, because I don't see him. You're not joking Ash Hanley, and I don't have Alford's ahead of Fussy Tour from what I've seen.
I think a lot of people. That's why I don't want to get into that, but I'd have Alford's ahead of Fussy Tour at this very moment. Fussy Tour has had probably 1 or 2 good games all season.
I don't know. Well, we'll
Which is
disagree on that.
Which is a bit tough.
I think he's only played 7 games, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's not played that many.
It's not Moneyball, is it?
No, definitely not. You need a big year out of him. But from what I've seen of him, I think he's got more. But he's got to do it. And it's same with a lot of players who are injured. They've got
Mark
to actually
Sneed yesterday might have something else to say, but that's just on the game yesterday.
If you look at that, what you're on about there, though, you look at, and let's mention the Mellor to Cass. People said to me, "Oh, Alex Mellor, 27, he'd suit Rowan." Rowan said he didn't want Alex to go there. Like Alex chose to go there, whatever, because he wasn't going to get enough game time. But I've said this to you before, Mick, over years. It's not that personal, Sometimes the clubs, other than stockpile, I'd love clubs to trade players. I spoke to a leading CEO last week, and he said, "Oh, I've heard that you keep using this word, trading players. It's the best thing ever." Toby King's now playing up this field with a smile on his face. Jake Wardle's playing for it. Lewis Johnson went to Ulkea, changed his life. Rob Malone went to Orange and changed his life. Alex Mellor's gone to Cass, and he's happy as he's been for a bit. Sometimes it's just the way it is. And other than have a kid, my worst nightmare, because an agent, lads will tell you, I'm sure it happens to all of us. You've got a kid who's getting stockpiled and promised. And do you know what you get, Mick? You get phone call after phone call after phone. And Joe's just had it at a club where you've got them saying, you've got a coach, Mick, who's saying one thing to the kids, and he's saying there's a big future here, there's this future here. Then you're realistically then speaking to the first team coach, and he's gone, there's fucking no chance of getting a game here. And you're stood then having to go back. Do you know what parents do then? They blame you. Yeah. They say, oh, this. You say, no. This guy's wanting to give good news out because his director of youth is stockpiling. He's stockpiling. Oh, they're not for now, they're for a couple of years. Sometimes you've got to think common sense. Common sense means they're not going to play that kid. Do you know what I'm saying? So, how long would you say before, if you're at a club at 18 and you're there till you're 21, Mick, how long do you think it is before you become and accept you're a squad player? Or you're better off going somewhere else?
You're probably at 21, 22, 23. I think there'd be like a
would you go into 5 or 6
period.
years? I won't.
No, the big thing now is that it used to be the clubs had to commit a bit more in some way. They'd have to offer them a first team contract and maybe 12, 15k. Now, they can keep hold of them. Certainly the ones, and we know the vast majority. Well, but also the vast majority lads are very scared of leaving that big name. You know, if we drop into someone who might be coming out of Leeds Rhinos, but look, we start to think it might be better. Let's get in League One. Let's join a local Hunslet and start playing games. They can understandably be very hesitant to leave. And now the clubs can offer a few grand in reserves.
A part-time
and that's what
contract,
makes it even harder now for lads to turn around and give up a dream. And it makes it easier for the clubs to keep them in that system, whether it's just to hold a crash pad or because they want to have a little bit look more. And it plays into the club's hand a bit more. Do you not think?
It's heartbreaking. You know, it's heartbreaking for me. I did it with Tom Inman. I can speak about it. I've asked, you know, Tom would really love being a Warrington player, loved being part of he went into full-time training. Absolutely. Saying to Tom and his parents, do you fancy going to York? People say, oh yeah, but common sense, he should do that. Danny will say, oh, we should do that. I go, Danny, you try breaking that into a young kid.
Yeah.
You try saying to a young kid, I want you to leave Warrington, go to York. If that fails at York, you're probably going to play Championship 1 for the rest of your life.
Correct.
That fear factor of them is terrifying. Suddenly the parents are looking, they've been sat in their aunties with a cup of tea and they've been saying, Tom plays for Warrington. And everyone's happy and everyone, oh, Tom plays for Warrington, full. Yeah. All of a sudden, is it York? And they go, all right. And so we know what's best for the player.
Even then, though, York's are very attractive.
Yeah.
I get you. York's are very attractive. I reckon a load of my lads, if they got a good contract at York or a good opportunity, would take that. But it's even the ones that are like, York might not take yet because they've not been on loan.
Are you trying to say going to Cornwall, Coventry?
Yeah, League One.
Just League One in general.
Yeah.
I don't want to pick out. Yeah, just League One in general. I've been saying go there because 1 year in League One will change your life rather than a half good season in reserves, especially with how the reserves been this year. You speak to any champ League One coach, the reserves probably works against the player more than it does for the player. They a lot of coaches would rather take a brilliant League One player now at the same age rather than a good reserve player. That's where the game's at the moment.
Playing men's rugby,
and the reserves have been
tangible,
they've screwed up the. I don't mind saying this. They've screwed up the reserves that much this year that they've ruined reputations of young kids because they didn't get, some of them didn't get a chance to go out on loan. And if a young kid has not had a chance to go out on loan this season, they're not even looked at because
they're lower in the pecking order.
Because even if they're, no offence, even if they're better than the lad who's playing League One on loan, but if they've not had a chance for one reason or another, maybe fixtures, the way the fixtures landed with the League One teams on loan, they've not had a chance to go. It's like speaking to someone they don't know, and it's so upsetting because some of these lads have got so much talent, but they're not even getting a sniff because they've screwed up the reserves that badly.
Let's wrap it up, Mick. I think that's fabulous, Joe. Well done, and well spoken, everybody.
Another one was who I thought had a very good impact at Bradford yesterday. Moses Mustafa. He's obviously at a certain age now where Rowan's obviously going to be making a call on him, and again,
that call's been made.
His future's away from Leeds.
That's not for me to say because it's for Leeds to announce that.
Right. But again, you know, he's another player who I'm looking at based on his performance yesterday. He'd be a very good Championship player, but I suspect, Craig, and the way you're looking at me, again, is those young players need to be playing in the Super League.
Without doubt, yeah. Why would they not?
No, I'm just saying, you know, you can either become a very good...
I always think, I thought...
Because it has happened with Jack Broadbent.
Yeah, I get it.
You can become a top 25 Championship player.
I prefer Corey Hall's move.
Yeah.
There you go. That's it quick. Corey Hall didn't go to a Championship club, went to Wakefield, played 23 games. That's it.
Maybe I'm looking at it from a bit more Bradford sentiment.
You are.
That I'd like to see a Moses Mustafa at Bradford. I'd like to see a Liam Tyndall on a season-long loan. Not permanent, but I do agree with what you say.
I'm with you, Mick. I'm with you. I like him going Championship. The Championship is a bit stagnant with 32, 33-year-olds at this moment. And if they did inject it with a load of young talent that might not be getting... Corey Hall did get his chance, but maybe not with injuries, maybe with different circumstances. He might have just been stuck at Wakey. Luckily.
There's a big difference, though, when you're out in your thing, who... Mikey Lewis, when I chose to take him to Newcastle, was genius. Champ 1. Then you take him to York, so you moved him up. Championship. Then he got it first team at 20. Bang. It was perfect. Done. Gaelic going all them years ago. We could mention 50 players. Corey actually went to York before. I love it. Yeah. But when they get to a certain standard and age, you can't just go Championship again. You've got, if there's opportunity to go to Super League, you'd have to be nuts.
As long as
if you didn't pick that bottom 5 in Super League, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but that's if there
he
is
just
that
said must
pathway.
Louise. Would you rather Louise go Bradford than go where it's going to go?
It depends what
Or
pathway.
if it's
And it
States.
well, I think it depends how many games he gets that the club is going to.
Twin.
Well, not all.
And
Not all the.
this
not,
was the
that's
point,
the thing.
mate,
It's not always all the time. It's not
I would
always-
say if you're a good agent, you look at the potential for him to play, and you should have a good idea.
This is just me.
That's
That's how I see. Whether that's a gift or not, I think you look, you go, he can play there.
Look, you know, yeah, but
Yeah.
we've got it. Everyone's got it wrong.
All I want to
sometimes,
say,
haven't
on the
for
recruitment,
half an hour.
the recruitment that leads to now, what I think is brilliant is it's so nice to see Rowan Smith watching the Championship and looking down and potentially signing one of the Championship standout players this year, signing someone from Doncaster. You know, they've said it's so refreshing.
Well, if they're saying Luke said Luke
what I'm
Cooley,
saying
the
is-
lads, didn't they?
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
Luke Cooley,
the
yeah.
top
Brilliant.
Championship player.
Yeah.
Luke Cooley and Leon from Donny.
Yeah.
He's gone within weeks of being in the country. There's plenty of talent who are not overseas, who are on our shores, playing in the
Who can
level below,
nurture,
in
yeah,
the level
who can
below.
nurture. And Rowan's always been like that.
For years, you've probably tried 100 times. We
Aussie
might have tried plenty of
coaches,
times.
yeah.
He's worth having a look at. No, let's look at someone who's
Listen.
been 6 out of 10 for 20 weeks.
Do you know what's been good with Rowan?
That's
Do
great
you
to
know
see.
what's good with Rowan though, Mick? You
Rowan
know
did that in
this.
2016 when he looked at Keighley, Ross Peltier, you know, and he gave Ross Peltier a chance at Bradford, and you know,
But do you know what else helps? And it's what I probably can say because I speak to Rowan.
He wants to work with that age.
and
develop players.
financially, it's forced him to do it as well,
Well,
which is fantastic
yeah.
because that's brilliant for a CEO to say. By the way, you've only got this much, so he knows for that much,
Yeah.
his budget is there, and he can improve them with his coaching. So, a tip for all CEOs: just tell them they've got no left and they'll go.
don't underestimate that Rowan Smith, Luke Cooley link, 'cause obviously
Yeah.
they're both at Bradford in 2016.
Yeah,
so-
well, we've heard enough.
Well, we nearly got a championship
it's nailed
players
on.
done at Leeds 2 weeks ago. We did.
Wow.
Here. And Rowan did loads of homework on him. Met him, thought it was fantastic.
Why did it fail?
I would say budget.
Player wanted more.
Let one want him more, just a little.
All right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Well, listen, it's been the full 80 minutes on Proper Sport on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. Please subscribe, share. Fear not, we've not discussed the Championship and League One. That's coming up on another special show. Joe, what's up? You're gasping. Are you done? Well, me and Jimmy will
No,
just do it
laughing.
then.
I'm just laughing.
Craig's going because he don't know much about League One or
No,
Championship. I'm joking.
I've got all my players in Champ. I'm thinking, Craig, don't be doing that.
I did say one final rumour on the thing.
Got some business
With Dec Patton getting banned for the remainder of the season and Jordan Lilly out for the remainder of the season, Mark didn't say the player's name, but in the interview yesterday, he will be on the phone to Mr. Rowan Smith about some emergency halfback cover this week.
Jack Sinfield, is that what you're saying? No.
I'm not saying anything, Craig.
You're up to 176,000 views on your commentary.
Oh, stop going on about it.
That's gone
Jimmy.
up 50,000 in time we've done the show.
Are we still live?
You'll be
Right,
on
anyway.
GMTV tomorrow. yeah.
Craig's leaving the building. He's got a meeting with Mr. Gary H and Jack Walker tonight.
Yeah, no, I've got a lot of Matty Pete. Here we go. Right, see you
Yeah,
later.
no worries.
See you guys.
Hopefully we'll be able to do a special transfer special in the coming weeks with once some of these deals have been announced. Certainly the Luke Cooley to Leeds one. I'd love to discuss that in a lot more depth than I'm able to at this moment in time. Anyway, over and out. We'll see you next week.